So now, continuing from where we left off, we saw that this is the final equation for tau total, and we also saw that eta and epsilon change with the flow characteristics, and we can't rely on that more. So what the next approach is, Reynolds proposed a particular theory for that. According to him, see, now let us assume that there are two layers, A and B. A and B are layers, and let layer A travel with a velocity VA and layer B travel with a velocity VB, which means VA is velocity of A, VB is velocity of B. Now the underlying important point is VA is greater than VB. Now what is the relative velocity between these two? Relative velocity is the velocity with which one layer travels in consideration to another layer if the other layer is considered to be at rest. If you consider VB is at rest, then how much velocity is VA moving? That is our concept. The same as if you travel in bus or train, when some other bus or train is overtaking you, you will notice that even though that vehicle is moving at 80 kilometers per hour, it will seem to you as if though it is traveling at just 20 to 30 kilometers, because you are also traveling in that same direction. So only the difference between the velocities of both will be your final velocity. Similarly here, the relative velocity can be written as VA minus VB. We will take this value is equals to Vx, that is, in horizontal direction the relative velocity of VA and VA with respect to VB is Vx. Okay. Now since there will be a lot of mixing of fluids, there are layers, these are layers, there will be lots and lots of mixing of layers. There will be like this, there will be like this. In turbulent flow there will be lots of mixing. So since there is since if particles are mixing in every other direction, there will be certain component of velocity in y direction also. So we will take that as Vy, vertical component, whereas Vx is horizontal component. Okay, so that's fine. Now see, we are seeing the layer in the 2D direction. Now we'll take it in a 3D manner. Okay, this is the layer. Now see this, now if you take the area of this particular layer, the area over which this whole flow is happening as A, and the density of fluid as rho is density of the fluid, then the mass transfer between, there is another layer here also, and the bottom, see, the top one is layer A, the bottom one is layer B. So if we take that, then the mass transfer that happens between these two can be written as mass transfer rho A Vy, mass transfer per second. Okay, that is important here, mass transfer per second. Why rho A Vy? We know mass m is equals to density into volume, that is rho into V. Since we are assuming mass per second, that we can write it as rho into V by second. Volume per second is, the unit will be meter cube per second. You know, meter cube per second is the unit of Q, discharge. So what can we write discharge as? A into V, that we are writing here. A into V is in vertical direction, the transfer of mass is rho A Vy. Okay, here A is the perpendicular surface area, this top and this top area, whatever is the area, that is the A here. Now how can we write momentum transfer? Momentum transfer means mass into velocity. Here we know mass is rho A Vy. What is the velocity? Here momentum transfer takes place because the flow is happening in the horizontal direction, which means mass into horizontal component of velocity. What is horizontal component of velocity? Vx. So change of momentum or momentum transfer P is equals to rho a Vy, that is mass, into Vx. So P, momentum transfer, is rho a Vx Vy. Okay. From Newton's second law, what can we say? Momentum transfer or change in momentum is equals to force acting. Okay. From this we know, if you want to find out shear stress, what will you do? Tau shear stress is equals to force per area. We know what is force. Force is this thing, that is rho a Vx Vy divided by area A. A gets cancelled, rho Vx Vy. So this value is the instantaneous value of shear stress at a particular point. Let's call this equation as, what is the equation number here? What was the last equation which we got here? So let's call this equation as number 5. Okay. So now since this is an instantaneous value, we are applying an average value approach. We'll take an average value of shear stress and we'll write the expression as rho Vx Vy bar. See, you can consider bar, you don't consider, it's not going to impact your calculation, but for conceptual clarity we are applying this as rho Vx Vy. Okay, so this we'll call as equation number 6. Okay, so this is called as Reynolds stress. Reynolds stress is an expression for turbulent shear stress acting in a turbulent flow. Now, after this, till here we have derived the equation for turbulent shear stress. There was another scientist named Prandtl who further simplified this shear stress values. He proposed a new theory involving mixing length. This is a new term which Prandtl coined, and the hypothesis which was given is termed as mixing length hypothesis. Okay. According to Prandtl, see, I'll read the equation. I read the whatever definition is. Mixing length is that distance in transverse direction which must be covered by a lump of fluid particles traveling with its original mean velocity in order to make the difference between its velocity and the velocity of the new layer equal to the mean transverse fluctuation in turbulent flow. Don't fret about what sort of fancy definition this is all. The final outcome is mixing length L is equals to relative velocity divided by velocity gradient. So in horizontal direction, L can be written as Vx by dou V by dou Y, and in vertical direction L can be written as Vy by dou V by dou. See, you can ask, sir, here Vx is there, Y is there, dou V by dou Y in horizontal. See, velocity gradient is always dou V by dou Y. Since we are not considering velocity change in horizontal direction, our main aim is velocity gradient in vertical direction, how it changes from wall to center. Because in horizontal direction it can increase based on whether you are supplying with a pump or whether you are just allowing it to go. So that is not our velocity gradient here. Velocity gradient is always dou V by dou Y. From this, what do we get as Vx? Vx is equals to L dou V by dou Y, and Vy is equals to L dou V by dou Y. We multiply these equations. Vx into Vy is equals to L square into dou V by dou Y whole square. Let us term this equation as number 7. Okay. We substitute 7 in 6. What will happen? We get tau turbulent is equals to rho L square into dou V by dou Y whole square. This is equation number 8. This is the formula for turbulent shear stress. This formula we got by applying both Reynolds and Prandtl's theory and equations. Okay. Now we'll use this particular equation 8 in our equation number 1, that is tau total is equals to, what is viscous shear stress? Mu dou v by dou y. What is turbulent shear stress? Rho L square into dou v by dou y whole square. Equation number 9, the equation for total shear stress acting on a fluid element in a turbulent flow is this. This we have derived. See, some important points that we need to consider over here is, usually in our day-to-day life general conditions, mu dou v by dou y is negligible. Mu dou v by dou y is negligible, and rho L square into dou v by dou y square is very high, so much high. We see, say for example,
It's 10:45.
if this value is say 10,000, if this value is 10,000, this value is 1, the final sum will be 10,001. Okay, which means we can write it as 10,000. There is no need to add that 1 also. The values in our day-to-day turbulent flow will be that much high. Okay, so with this we have finished the turbulent flow part 2. Next we will see the hydrodynamically smooth and rough boundary layers. Okay, thank you.